The LiveScope TR BSM-6000 series bedside monitors have several configurations for a wide range of patients. There are 3 models, which differ mainly in the display sizes. The LiveScope TR series can monitor basic parameters like ECG, respiration, SpO2, NIBP, IBP, CO2, temperature, and PICO or EEG by using additional units. For each parameter, you can monitor, store, and review data and set alarms for when the patient condition changes. They can also be connected to central monitors and can monitor patient data from different places. On the front side, you will find the power switch, the touchscreen, the alarm indicator, and several operation keys like silence alarm, NIBP interval, NIBP start-stop, menu, home, and record or stop key. On the left side, you will find a slot for the battery pack at the bottom. Also, you can insert an input unit from the left side. There are several types of input units, and you can also use a transport monitor like LiveScope PT BSM-1700 series as an input unit. Insert the input unit at the back side of the monitor along the guide until it clicks into place. To release it again, push down the lever and unplug it. You will find ECG, SpO2, temperature, NIBP, ECG BP, and analog output sockets. These yellow sockets are for multiple parameters such as IBP, CO2, temperature, BIS, CO, and NMT. On the right side, you can see the SD card slot for system maintenance, the ZS socket for telemetry, the network socket, and the optional recorder. Only the BSM-6301 model has the second battery pack slot. On the rear panel, there are an AC power cord socket and a grounding terminal. Also, you can have sockets for USB, multi-link, alarm, RS232C, and RGB. The combination of the sockets depends on the configuration. Press the power switch to turn on the monitor. To turn it off, press the power switch for more than 3 seconds. To go to the Admit screen, press Menu and touch Admit Discharge. Enter patient information by using the keyboard and touch Enter. For the date of birth, touch Set after entering. Touch Admit, confirm the pop-up message, and touch New Patient. You can also touch the patient name area at the upper part to go to the Admit screen. Then, press the Home key to go back to the main screen. The bedside monitor has now started monitoring the patient. To discharge a patient, press Menu and touch Admit Discharge to go to the Admit screen. Touch Discharge and New Patient. When you discharge the patient, all the patient's data will be erased. To enter the main settings, press Menu. To go back to the main screen, press Home or touch the waveform area. You can also touch the numeric data to go to the parameter settings directly. You can configure up to 4 function keys at the upper left to go to frequently used screens directly. To change the ECG settings, touch Menu and ECG, or touch the heart rate value. To adjust the upper-lower alarm limits, touch each parameter. In addition, you can change the sensitivity and the display lead setting. Touch each selection to change. When starting monitoring, the LiveScope TR will recognize the normal ECG as a reference for arrhythmia detection. If the arrhythmia detection is inaccurate due to a change of the ECG's baseline, you can readjust the current ECG waveform by touching Learn. For arrhythmia alarm, touch the Arrhythmia tab and change the alarm settings by touching On/Off or touching up and down. You can also change the ST alarm, arrhythmia analysis setting, ST point, pacemaker, and others by touching the tabs. You will find pacemaker options under the Other tab. In the same way, you can change the settings for SpO2. Touch Menu and SpO2, or tap on the SpO2 value to adjust the upper or lower alarm limit by adjusting each parameter and sensitivity. You can also change the Other settings from the Other tab. For NIBP, tap the NIBP value to adjust upper or lower alarm limit. To start the NIBP measurement, press NIBP Start/Stop. Press Interval and select the interval time. Then press NIBP Start/Stop for an interval NIBP measurement. When you need to stop the NIBP measurement, press NIBP Start/Stop. For IBP, touch the pressure value to change the alarm limit. For zero calibration, expose the blood pressure line to the air and touch 0 cal for each IBP label. You can also perform a zero calibration for all lines at the same time. Expose all lines to the air and touch 0 all. You can change scales, labels, and other settings from each tab as well. Tap on the temperature value to adjust the alarm limit by touching each parameter, label, and the other setting. Tap on the CO2 value to change the alarm limit and the other setting. In case of using the P910A CO2 sensor. To start the CO2 monitoring, expose the airway adapter to the air and perform a zero calibration by tapping on Air Cal. For P907 CO2 sensor, you do not need a zero calibration because of measuring with the Inspiration Zero Balance Adjustment method. You can also go to each parameter settings from the parameter tabs at the top. In case of alarms, LiveScope TR shows a message with a level color, blue, orange, and red, a sound with different alarm levels, and highlighted numeric data. You can silence the alarm by touching Silence Alarms. LiveScope TR can store numeric data and up to 5 selected waveforms for 72 hours. You can review data on the trend graph, full disclosure, arrhythmia recall, alarm history, and the vital sign list. You can also record or print data by pressing Recorder or Printer. You can review data from each review screen. Press Menu and select the review screen. You can also switch between other review screens. All review screens show the same time data. To review the waveform data at a specific time on the trend graph, just switch from the trend graph to full disclosure. A trend graph displays up to 6 parameters. You can change the displayed parameters from Settings. Also, you can change the scale setting for each parameter by touching Scale. You can change time period and display time. Touch plus or minus to change the display time width. Also, by touching Event keys, you can move the cursor to the previous or next event, or just scroll left or right. Customized trend patterns can be configured based on your requirements. There are 3 table pages. Each page displays the vital sign data of the selected parameters in the Settings window. To change the interval time, touch Interval Time and select the time. The vital sign list pattern can be configured based on your requirement. You can show the vital sign list when NIBP is measured by touching NIBP trend. You can see the full disclosure waveforms with a display range of 60 seconds per trace. You can change displayed parameters from the Settings key. By touching Zoom In or Zoom Out, you can change the display range from 60 to 6 seconds per waveform. The full disclosure waveform can be displayed in actual size when 6 seconds per trace is set. At the Recall tab, you can see the list of the arrhythmia events with ECG waveforms. By touching the Recall file, you can see the actual ECG size for 12 seconds. To go back to the list of the arrhythmia events, touch the ECG waveform. At the alarm history, you can see which alarm occurred in the past time. When LiveScope TR is connected to a network, you can access patients' data of another bedside monitor. By using the interbed function, you can check the monitoring data and alarms. It is possible to have an overview of up to 20 other patients at your screen. If you want to access detailed data, including waveforms, tap on the patient's area and the individual screen will be shown. When tapping the numeric data, you can see the waveform of the parameter. Go back to the interbed screen by tapping X. In case of transferring a patient to another bed, you can transfer the data from the current bedside monitor to the next one by using Transport function with LiveScope PT. Tap on Menu and Admit Discharge. Tap on Transport Data and Remove. Tap Yes and wait until the message Remove the input unit is displayed. Now you can remove the LiveScope PT transport monitor from the bedside monitor. Just plug in the LiveScope PT on the other bedside monitor. Confirm that the transferred patient information is correct, and then touch OK.